Maybe. Hello. Hello, everyone. Sorry it took us a moment to get going. I ended up with a glitch and we had to start over again. Hi, Marilee. It's good to see you. Um, and it's good to be here today. Welcome so much to Lipedema Wellness Conversations with Gail. That would be me and friends. Our friend today is Gillian Harvey. Gillian comes to us from Melbourne, Australia. You have seen her on my broadcast before. She's one of my absolute favorite all time nutritionists and coaches here at Lipedema Simplified. I am so glad she's here. Please make sure when you come to come in that in the chat or the comments you put where you're from. I see Mary is here. Mary Hersak's here. Marilee is from Chehalis, Washington, USA. Debbie Williamson Sharrow is here today. Karen is another Aussie. She says checking in from Montgomery, Texas.
Wow.
It's good to have you all here. And I just want to make sure that you are aware that we do this every Tuesday evening, except for the fourth Tuesday. We do that in the morning. Lori Creighton's here from Alabama. Hi, Lori. I'm recognizing some of these names, Jill, because some of these names we see on a regular basis. They're either tribe members or they are in our thriving through the holiday CSIG right now.
That's right.
Earlier today, Jill asked me to make sure that on the half hour that we're done. So we're not going to have the hour and a half conversation we had last time. I'm fortunate. I'm so fortunate because Jill and I talk to each other quite often. In fact, this is the third time in the last 24 hours that we've actually got together either on Zoom or here on this live. And I was excited to find out the sorts of things that Jill does for the holidays. Because she actually, the Christmas season in Australia is very different than the Christmas season here in the United States. And so yesterday during our CSIG, she actually showed some pictures and some things that kind of made us giggle and laugh and things like that. So with that, I'm going to introduce Gill Harvey. Hi, Jill.
Hi, Gail. Thanks for having me on. Oh, here we go. Karen's from Melbourne originally. There we go. Yes. Excellent. So it's funny, even though we're supposed to have summer right now, it's possible that in Melbourne we might have snow for Christmas because of our crazy weather patterns at the moment. So Carrie, who's in Perth, actually, she's north of Perth, and I saw that somewhere north of Perth had 48 degrees centigrade, which might be getting close to 115, 120. Someone can do the maths and put it in the chat. It's awful. It's just like unbearably hot.
Oh my gosh.
It's so hot, and we're like in winter, so all that summary, the image I shared was of Santa at the beach, an Australian, like a kangaroo with a Santa hat on and that type of thing. And part of our discussion was, I guess, when we feel burdened by holiday traditions, when they no longer suit us or serve us, especially for our health. And because I think I was the only person from the Southern Hemisphere in that session, I said, well, for those of us in the Southern Hemisphere, we have a summery Christmas. Those traditions don't mean so much to us, like fireplaces and snow. And most Australian capital cities don't get snow on any sort of regular basis. We're relatively warm, and it's a pretty special treat when it happens. So it's definitely newsworthy. It makes the news in the evening.
Right. Right.
So yeah.
And it's really interesting for me because you're like, it's the end of the school year, and it's all these things, and for us it's the middle of everything. I mean, it's for us the holiday season, there's a culmination. School has been going for a while, and then all of a sudden we get here in the United States, we get a week off for Thanksgiving, and then 3 weeks later we get 2 weeks off for Christmas. And sometimes, with the colleges and stuff, then they get a full month off and they don't start school again until January. And it's kind of it feels often like things just pile up for us during the holiday season, and it's like we don't get any breaks, right? I mean, it's kind of
Do you have the same thing in Australia? Everyone is trying to get some sort of work done on their house. It's got to be done by Christmas, and it's like, why do you do that to yourself? That being said, we've put off renovations successfully for half a decade. So, nothing's getting done in time for Christmas. But I mean,
Yeah,
our schools won't go back till very late January, February, and the universities won't go back till almost March. So
wow,
big long holiday. So
yeah,
anyone who's just finished school or at university, some of them are working hard doing their summer placements, but others are, off doing something for 3 months.
right,
Yeah.
right. And we get that in June, July, and August, and it always throws us for a loop, because in real life we don't get huge breaks, right? So here in the United States, they have some schools, I don't know how prevalent they are anymore, where they go year round. And as a teacher, I found that I burnt out just thinking about teaching all year round. I didn't even do it. I
Oh,
thought
yeah.
about it, and I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, no, you can't make me do it. You know.
Oh, like a 3 trimester. Yeah, we had the opportunity to do that the third semester in a year, like a makeup or a fast track semester. More
Yeah.
universities are offering that now. I see we've got Stacey who's joined us from Switzerland. I'm
Hi,
thinking, is it crazy o'clock in
It
Switzerland right
it is
now?
crazy o'clock in Switzerland right now.
I've got my thing. Well, Cape Town, it's 2 a.m., so Switzerland will be an hour either side of that.
She's either up really late or really
Yeah.
early.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah,
As the Swiss and the Germans and the Belgians, I think, do Christmas, the archetypical Christmas, the
yeah,
night
yeah,
markets, all that type of thing.
yeah. We had
So,
I just got back from Virginia, and th the house that I was staying in with well, I was staying with my friends, my family friends, they're the chosen families. Anyways, um, this dear family, they have 5 Christmas trees. Oh my
wow.
god. It's like, and they they offered they the grandmother lives there. They have a mother-in-law apartment. Grandma lives with them. And she brings out this tray, this like flat of Christmas tree ornaments. And she goes, "Oh, this is for the one in the basement by where your bedroom is." And she expected me to decorate the Christmas tree.
Oh, bless.
I'm like, someone just assigned me to decorate a Christmas tree. I don't decorate. I don't decorate. I have never gotten into the decoration thing. And she goes, "Oh yeah." And she goes, "And then the one up there gets these, and then all the white ones go on that tree." And I was like, "Oh dear." She was really expecting me to decorate.
And I notice Australians have
Yeah.
gotten more into Halloween's still pretty not even half-hearted, like
Yeah.
10%. So Halloween's a bit, but I notice there's more excitement about decorating for Christmas. And hey,
Yeah.
at least for us, it's summer and we've got solar power to
Yeah.
run. Some people are going to have solar power to run all their Christmas
Oh my
decorations
gosh.
off.
But just that caused me stress.
Yeah.
Mm,
Wow.
Just
Layers,
thinking
hey?
someone else, that was a layer of stress. Yeah,
Mm.
someone else wants me to decorate something that I which I don't do. They just kind of expected so there were expectations of me. My expectation my expectation was simply to go relax. Her expectation was, "Oh, Gail's coming. She can help me decorate." And so, anyway, enough probably about decorating and not decorating.
Well, it's part of these layers of expectation. And, I had a community and I was so pleased. It turned out really well, but there was a time where it was like, oh, why did I say yes? So we had a community lunch, all women. I love how they nominate about 5 husbands and the husbands do all the serving. So it's quite delightful. Um, and a couple of them got out in tuxedos. So that was really
Aw,
fun,
how
and bow
fun.
ties and a Santa, big ho 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 tie. And it's like, can you bring a trifle? And I thought, oh yeah, and especially a keto trifle. And I thought, you know what, trifle isn't my jam anyway. Like, and it's like multi-component. And Gail knows that I am a efficient slash lazy in the kitchen. And I actually think as a nutritionist, that's a superpower because I'm never going to ask anyone to do anything I wouldn't do myself. I'm not going to ask you to spend, I know some people do this. I had the best weekend. I spent all day in the kitchen. It's like, you're kidding me. So that's not my dream weekend, is spending it in the kitchen. And this lockdown bread baking thing, it's like, why? But anyway, not my thing. So Oh,
Uh,
Debbie's just said she has a tree up all year. We had a year like that where we just didn't take the tree down, and then it rolled around to Christmas and it's like, oh, look at that, time saving. But
yeah,
and then I actually thought, oh, and I said, I'll sort out a cheesecake, and I was going to buy one, and it's beautiful, beautiful. But I looked at the price of it, over 100 Australian dollars, and I thought, I think I'm going to be making a cheesecake. And I was so pleased. It turned
it
out really nicely. I thankfully, even though it was slightly experimental, I have done keto baked cheesecakes before, but I didn't want to fuss with all the crust. And bless you, Gail.
sorry,
It's,
I don't know where
you've
that came from.
caught Melbourne's hay fever via the internet.
Yeah,
Everyone's got hay fever and their allergies are out of control at the moment. But yeah, so that worked out really nicely. But yeah, these layers of expectations that are part of
there
the season.
there
And
are. There are,
yeah,
and for those of us I'm just looking at some of the comments, and for those of sorry, I keep sneezing. Anyways, for those of us who are, I'm looking at this, like Stacy says, she has a rough time sleeping. So if we're sleep deprived, it's going to be another thing. She has severe lipedema in her bum and all the nerves are tender. How do you sleep?
yeah,
How do you sleep when your butt
yeah.
hurts, right? All the time. I'm so sorry. But Stacy, it's nice that you try to catch us live. That's really nice of you.
Thank
Um,
you.
Karen says she doesn't put up a tree. She doesn't really do Christmas, so she celebrates New Year's mainly. Just one less chore. Debbie has her tree
Yeah.
up all year round. I remember I had a friend who said to me, she goes, "This is my Christmas room." And she opened up her dining room and it was all set for Christmas. It was like July. She goes, "We just keep the door shut the rest of the
Well,
year."
and what's really funny here in Australia, Christmas in July is a big thing. A lot of restaurants will do it because, not as there's not going to be snow really, but
Right.
it's winter and you can do all that wintry stuff and boots and hats and coats and fireplaces. And hot roast meals and all that type of thing. I was
Yeah.
going to say for Stacey a couple of things where, it becomes being sleep deprived is challenging at so many levels. It elevates our hunger hormones. It makes making good decisions about food harder because we're so much more inclined to head for those quick fix foods. And it elevates our stress hormones, which is that's another layer of the season, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just this
All these layers. Yeah.
it's just another layer.
So,
Karen is saying here she had her first manual lymphatic drainage massage last week. Yay, I hope it went
excellent.
well. She
Yeah.
started infrared sauna work. Yay, I love the infrared sauna. Using compression boot and hip band at the massage therapist place. Oh, Karen, sounds like you're doing some great work with that. Hope you can keep doing that. And let's see, who else? Oh, and then Debbie says she saw pictures of your cheesecake last
Yes.
night.
Thank you.
I was
Yeah.
I thought that was like a stolen picture. I didn't realize it was actually yours. Your cake
Yeah, well,
is
the nice thing is for decorating, it is berry season here, berry and cherry, and some roses. When they're not getting smashed by the storms, my mother-in-law is traumatized at the first beautiful bloom of spring rose, and she's got those dark burgundy ones with the beautiful scent. They're almost heirloom now, very hard to find. We had a big spring storm come through and just no more roses. Everything smashed off the bush, but it's early enough in the season that if you deadhead them, you'll get more roses.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so much fun. I enjoy talking about the two different seasons that we're in, and we've been, for those of you in the United States, we use Fahrenheit. So we're here in Idaho, we're getting close to the single digits almost every day now, which 32 Fahrenheit is 0 centigrade, right? So Celsius, centigrade. Oh wow.
Either, same.
Yeah. And so we're down in the single digits. So we're quite a ways below freezing. And my husband bought me a parka for the first time in 20 years. I now have a parka. I told him I want a new coat for Christmas or for our anniversary. And it was too heavy for me to carry to Virginia. But boy, when I got home, I had it on the next day because it's pretty cold here.
Juanita's just commented 3 feet of snow and 20-ish Fahrenheit in Anchorage. Now I think nobody can probably really compete with Juanita for cold.
Well, 20-ish Fahrenheit in Anchorage. Okay. 3 feet of snow. Oh my gosh. 20. But the thing is now, Juanetta, as far as very well, it has to warm up to snow. It can't snow if it's too cold. And I know people don't believe that. But here where we are, if it's too cold, it's too dry.
Yeah.
Right. And so we don't get snow. And we can tell, oh, it's going to snow because it's warming up a little bit. Right. Other than that, I mean, when we get the 7 and even the like minus, so it's below 0 around here, there's not a cloud in the sky. It is just icy cold, bitter cold. But yeah, La Nina winter is wacky.
Yeah. La Nina summer is wacky too, I can assure you. Pretty much non-existent so far. No spring, really. So there we go.
So Karen is talking about a flight to and from Melbourne via Los Angeles the week before. She wore compression leggings and didn't have any alcohol this time on Qantas. It keeps moving. Takes a week for her edema to reduce. And I have ankles. I have ankles today. I've been swollen for a week. With that said, I am going to put something in the chat, or I guess it's not the chat, it's the comments. If it'll show up. It is a registration link We are having a webinar fireside chat. It's free. It's free to everybody who wants to show up to it, register for it. It's going to be about travel and some emergency responses that we have to do. So preventative and emergency responses for travel. When our own Winetta Ayers named it. We are going to have Leslyn Keith, Siobhan Huggins, me, Gail Straker, Kelly Bell, and Catherine Seo. And Catherine's going to share what happened to her when she traveled, because she's really dealing with a great deal of edema, truncal edema. And so we're going to have a good talk about traveling, flying, those sorts of things, and edema. And that's Friday. This, like, 3 days from now, it's going to be at 1:30 Eastern. Even if you can't make it because it's crazy o'clock where you live at 1:30 Eastern, register for it so that you can get the replays. And if you can be awake or not working at 1:30. So let's see.
I know a conversation that we've had about travel in one of probably our Q&As or a check-in is about food, and food's harder when we're traveling. And I think sometimes, close enough is good enough. If it's really good to not get into that catastrophic thinking of, just because I can't do my food regime, and for so many of that, it is low carb or keto, just because I can't do it 100%, catastrophic thinking, it all goes out the window. And then you find you're having toast for breakfast and pasta for lunch and, all the rest. That sometimes we just have to be that little bit forgiving of ourselves. And if we can stay on track 80 or 90% of the time, then that might be the best we can do for the circumstances we're faced with.
Right.
Especially, look, when we have the choice as a family, we always have, what do they call it? But we always rent a place with a kitchen, like preferably a house or an apartment, where we can, because between me being low carb and lots of allergies and intolerances, we just find that, if you're in that hotel setting, that eating out 3 times a day just I think that's what we know, is when we've got health conditions that are affected by food, and so many are, we can spend whatever time of our lives kidding ourselves that they're not. But I think most of us, when we go off track, our body tells us about it. Sometimes our body screams, says, why are you doing this to me? So, but sometimes close enough's got to be good enough.
And for me, it was spice cookies, like ginger spice cookies, which is not, they're not allowed in my house. I mean, I don't care if they're keto. I don't care what they're not allowed in my house, because they're a trigger for me. And they were everywhere. Somebody had been to a holiday cookie exchange, and there was this big, and it was all over with. And I've groused at myself about it, but I have forgiven myself. And I will tell you, today is Tuesday. I flew Sunday night. Today's Tuesday, so all day yesterday. I didn't fast, but I fasted, which means I went like super low carb, basically carnivore and fat. I just got rid of everything. And this morning I woke up and I can actually see the bulb of my ankle bone now. And I look at my feet, they're not doing too bad today, but yesterday they were still pretty sore. So my body screamed at me for wheat, sugar, for wheat and sugar, wheat and sugar, wheat and sugar. And my body just went, hey, girl, I don't like this stuff anymore, But I was also noticing, I want to let Laleen Orlando wanted to know where in Virginia did I travel to? She's from VA. I went to a place called Aldi. It's near Chantilly, up by Fairfax, Manassas area. I was in Reston area. I was there. Let's see. Karen's been telling her massage therapist about lipedema simplified. Go the 80-20 rule.
Yeah.
Karen's
And biscuits, ginger snap and Anzacs. Yeah. So
yeah.
Anzacs are the big Australian tradition. I have found some lower carb recipes. And again, that's part of the conversation we have is so many of us, nuts are a store food. And so all these nut flours that get used in low carb baking, it's like, yeah, not an everyday thing, but you know, when we reach Christmas and birthdays, and if you're like my family, like my household, between Christmas and birthdays and an anniversary, we've got them perfectly spaced every quarter. So we can have a quarterly treat.
Right.
Yeah.
So we've talked about everything and nothing all at the same time, which is not a surprise for anybody who knows us. Please make sure if you are listening to this on a replay that you go into the comments and get our link to register. Yeah, Karen says the Wheat Belly book is where she started, and this is what she said, and that's where I started too. And oatmeal, all those things will light me up. So I agree, Karen. Dr. Davis started. He was my go-to for several years. So if you get the chance to email Jill, her email is right here, Gillian at lipedema-simplified.org. As a nutritionist, she loves to answer questions. She'll make sure if you want a discovery session with her, a 20-minute discovery session to see if she's the right coach for you, make sure that you just email her and she'll hook you up to her link. And if you have any questions for me, you just change the Gillian to Gail. That's my email address.
You only have to change like a few letters.
Yeah, I did. Just rearrange them and throw the N away. Pretty much. Because I'm Gail, Gail. So it always cracks me up because sometimes I look at her name going, oh, that's Gill, Jill. You know? But so just make sure that if you need to get a hold of one of us, you reach out to us, email us. If it's not us you want to get in contact with, but somebody we might know, we'll make sure that you get that person. We are here for you. Jill, before we close, because we just went 3 minutes over, is there anything that you would like to wrap up with, saying a message for the world?
Just have a beautiful season and I guess do what works for you for this season. And here in Australia, I think all traditions have gone out of the window. We're such a melting pot of so many different traditions. There is no overarching, this is the way we do it anymore. And being a self-advocacy, I think, is a huge thing. Over there, just out of reach, I have a live EpiPen. When food will kill you, there's no debate about whether you eat it or not. There's no, oh, just a little bit won't matter. But when we're making other decisions, sometimes there's a lot of social pressure and, you know, do what you've got to do to look after you during this season.
Yeah, thank you. And
Yeah.
and as always, remember that you are not alone. We are here.
In the middle of the night.
In the middle of the night, first thing in the morning, whenever you need us, we're here. And there's always hope. So with that, have a great night. Have a great morning. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.